Hi, and welcome to Strap a Watch. I'm Michael Knapp Leather. The ROLEX Pepsi. Man, have I got a great show put together for you guys today. I'll tell you what, you got to stick around and watch this whole show. Put a lot of work into it. This is the 52nd episode of Strap a Watch, and we just celebrated 1 year. So I'm very proud to say we put together at least a show a week for an entire year. And a lot of learning and a lot of love and a lot of sweat along the way. So I appreciate you joining me today. But like I said, great show. I am sporting today a ROLEX Pepsi from 1965. It's a reference 1675. Here's a little closer look down here on this camera. And it's sporting a red strap, an alligator strap that I had made several months ago for my Omega C Master. It has blue stitching, blue edging, but it just is all in line with the Pepsi theme, right? The red and blue of the bezel. And honestly, this watch does not belong to me. It belongs to an older friend of mine, and his name is Henry. Henry, even though he's older, he's very young at heart and really cool. Several months ago, I did some leather work for him. He was getting ready to go out to Wyoming. He has a cabin out there and do some cleaning on the cabin and hopefully some fishing. And he had a couple old knife sheaths. One had also belonged to his father that needed all new stitching and everything. So I did all that work for him. And when he picked them up, he's like, well, what do I owe you? I said, no, you don't owe me anything. Just let me do a review on your Pepsi one of these days. And he said, oh, okay. So we just got it back from being serviced. Really cool. And then just how the stars all align and the irony and circumstances of life. Another one of my customers actually gave me all the inspiration behind this. His name's Chris. And Chris has ordered a couple other straps, really cool straps. He's got my taste in watches and straps. He just does. And so what he did is he just ordered a Royal Midnight Blue Alligator strap with red stitching and red edging, and it's kind of the reverser of my red alligator strap, right? And talk about keeping everything in the Pepsi tradition of the red and blue. It's just super cool. So you're going to see me hand make this strap, the blue alligator, on today's episode for Chris. Henry has not ordered a strap, at least yet. He just got it back, like I said, from service, and the bracelet is really new. So I don't know if I don't know if he's even a strap kind of guy. Maybe I can talk him into it. We'll see. So we're gonna go into depth into the history of the Pepsi, the origins, and also this will include, and a lot of you may not even know about this watch, one of the absolute most collectible and rare watches in the world today. The white dial Pepsi from the late 50s that was made for the Pan Am airline executives back then. Super rare and, like I said, highly collectible watch. But more or less we're going to cover, I would say, like the Master 1 Pepsi. Thank you, Chris, for giving me the inspiration, by the way. And thank you, Henry, for allowing me to do the review and have your watch for a few days. It's been a lot of fun. And we're going to go into real depth on the history of this watch. I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. So stick around. After the intro, we'll get right into it. Thank you so much for joining me today on Strap a Watch. If you're hearing some popping and crackling, every time I come out here it seems like to do a voiceover, it starts to rain. And for some unknown reason, I put a metal roof on this outbuilding as my leather studio, and that was a huge mistake. So I apologize for the sound quality. This is the alligator skin, the Royal Midnight Blue alligator skin for Chris's uppers on his new watch strap. And again, you're going to be seeing me hand make this strap today on this episode, but really we're going to be talking about the ROLEX GMT Pepsi and some of their other lines of the Batman a little bit, and the Coke and the root beer. And so How this watch got started, from everything I've read, it was really initiated by Pan Am, some of the other airlines approaching Rolex, and probably some of the other watch manufacturers of the day in the early 50s. You got to imagine that intercontinental flights were now becoming more routine after World War II, you know, really prop planes, and with the development of jet engines right at the tail end of World War II, and with the, you know, better enhancement and development of the jet engines, now jetliners were being produced. And with the booming economy that was starting to take place in the 50s, more people were starting to fly, could afford to fly. And one of the things they had done were some studies, the airlines themselves, that with pilots especially, if they were able to track 2 different time zones, there was something in their brain. It was like a stress reliever that allowed them to function better and not have jet lag and fatigue as much. And so that's what this was really the basis of, was to produce a tool watch that could tell the time in 2 different time zones. And that's what Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, that's what it means. That's the 0 point of the world for time. That's why you have all of the different time zones, and it's all based off of that center point of Greenwich Mean Time. So what these watches give you the ability to do, and that's the whole point with the blue and the red dial bezel, is that's indicating day and night. And then you have this 3rd hour hand that also helps to keep track of your other time zone that you're wanting to keep track of. So it's an amazing system that they came up with. It really is. It was revolutionary. You know, now so many of them are produced, but this was really the first one. And it came out in 1954 as reference model 6542. And these early models in 1954 had what's called a Bakelite bezel. It's a form of an early plastic. And the problem was, it was very prone to cracking. So all of the original Bakelites that they had produced on these watches that were recalled. Okay, I can't remember exact number. It was like 650, 750 watches. So anything with these Bakelites, any of these GMTs, they're worth tons of money today, especially the better the condition. Of course, the more money you're going to get. There was just a bezel recently sold at an auction for $35,000. Not the watch, just the original bezel. So it just shows you how crazy this whole world is right now, especially in the Rolex world. And it became a very successful watch. They replaced it with a stainless steel bezel. Okay. And then, so what happened too was in 1958, like I was saying in the intro, Pan Am contracted to have, and it's either 100 or 200, it's probably somewhere closer to the 100 number, the executives with the white dial. And they also ordered a number in the black dial to give to all of their pilots, okay? And that kind of gave them the differential of management and, you know, employees of the pilots. So white dials, black dials, same watch in every respect. It's just really the dial. And those white dials are the ones that are just, I mean, I don't even know what the value could be placed on those. They are so rare. There's only been a couple of examples to surface within the last 10-15 years. One was rather recently. It was in a Japanese collection, a watch dealer himself, and they flew over. I think they met with the folks at Hodinkee, and were even offered, if they asked if the guy would be willing to sell. Of course, he said no. And I don't know what kind of price you can even put on a watch like that, but I have a feeling, I mean, these were tool watches. These watches were meant to be worn. They were worn. They were used for their functionality. And probably some of them just wore out. Some of them just probably even got chucked, thrown away back in the day. And I have another feeling that many of them were just handed down. I'm sure most of these, and it's probably predominantly men that were executives back in that day for Pan Am. Handed them down to family members and just said, whatever you do, don't sell this watch. Keep this watch in the family. I believe as time goes on, more of them will probably end up surfacing. They're just, I think, held up in real deep private collections. And some of the people, unfortunately, don't even know what they have. That kind of stuff happens all the time. So I'll tell you what, it would be absolutely one of my grail watches to get one of those. And right now, I just saw it last night on Chrono 24, is a white dial reference Pepsi, but it's from 1957 and does not have the case back of the engraved Pan Am logo on the case back. So it's definitely probably not one of these, because those came out in 1958 for the executives of Pan Am, and they were engraved with the Pan Am logo. So this one does not, and it does not have the original papers. It says it has the original box, but the wording is very, there's a lot of ambiguity to the wording about, like, is it a period time box or original box, or is it the actual box? I just have a feeling it's not. So it's tough, and it has the gold font. The executive watches had a black font. So this, you could special order and get a special, dial put in a watch through Rolex, and that's probably what this was. And more or less, it was probably a pilot, somebody like that, or kind of a jet setter, kind of somebody who had some money. Because, just kind of talking about even with Henry's watch, the 1675, was made in 1965 from the reference numbers we know. Henry's dad bought it brand new in 1965, and he paid probably right around $250 for that watch. That was kind of the going rate. In 1959, when they came out, and this watch, the 1675, ran from 59 to 1980. It is, I believe, the longest running production run of a single reference in the Rolex catalog. I could be mistaken, but I think that's accurate. And please correct me if I am wrong. I'd love to hear your comments. What do you guys think about the whole GMT line, and especially the Pepsi? But you know what? $250 in today's money equates to $2,060. I just looked it up. They were selling in 1959 for right around $240, and in 1970, right around $260. So you meet in the middle, 1965, the middle of the decade, I'd say it's probably about $250. Now, in today's money, with the brand new GMT Master 2s, of course, with the ceramic bezels, those are retail list price at $9,250, but you can't get them. You just can't get them. I mean, unless you have some serious clout with an authorized dealer, a particular AD, you spent tons of money with them, you bought lots of watches and lots of jewelry, then you're on the A list. Because I've been on the list myself for 2 years, and I'll probably never get the watch unless I, buy a used one, or I go through in the secondary and gray markets, because that's what I was going to say, is I've seen them going for $15,000 to $21,000. I mean, there's people actually paying over twice the amount of the list price, the Rolex list price for the watch. Now, hey, more power to you. If you've got the means and you really want that watch, go for it. I mean, yeah, I would never do it. And here I'm a guy that just socked down a good chunk of change on an Omega Silver Snoopy a couple weeks ago. So, I get it, but I paid the retail value. It's just I'm not going to be able to get the watch for about 6 months. I would have gladly done that 2 years ago for a Pepsi. I would have put down the full amount and wait 2 years to get the watch, as long as I know I'm actually going to get the watch. I wish more of the manufacturers would kind of go into this route. Yeah, it's kind of a glorified layaway type plan, you could say. But, I think that's pretty fair. They're producing so many watches, and the problem is they're inflating the prices too by these secondary markets, jacking the prices up so high. So it creates kind of a false, huge bubble, and that's where we're at right now in the Rolex world. And, there's a lot of other references, right? I mean, so the Coke originally came out in 1984. It was referred to as the Sophia Loren, or the Fat Lady, reference model 16760. And, it has the black and red bezel insert, the Coke insert. And, I made one recently for a strap recently for getting Peter up in the UK. And take a look at this. He sent me some videos. Is that beautiful or what? I mean, to me, honestly, the root beer to me is one of the most beautiful Rolex watches in their whole collection. It just is. I absolutely love it. I will have one day, God willing. But, I can only do so much at a time. Like I said, I've got the turquoise or Tiffany blue, everybody's referring to it. OP coming as one of the new watches, and I've been told by my AD that I will be getting that watch. It will match the shirt that I wear at my hearing healthcare clinic day in, day out. Those of you who don't know, of course, I am an audioprosthologist. I own and operate a hearing clinic as well, and we wear these kind of Tiffany blue shirts every day. So that was the whole reason of, once I saw the color on the launch this year, September 1st, when I saw the color, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta have that watch. And I'm sure there's a lot of other guys out there that are going, oh my God, I can't believe you want that watch. Well, there's a reason. It's a fashion reason, really. And it's listed in US money. I think it's right around $59.50. I mean, that's not bad, And it's another thing, like even with my Z Blue Dial Rolex Milgauss, which I highlighted last week, I've talked to so many Z Blue Dial owners over the years now, and we all, we're a different breed, like I said, but we're all in agreement that they're going to discontinue that watch someday. And you watch, that watch 50 years from now, once it's been discontinued, is going to be a huge collector's item. You watch. And you're going to think, there's a love-hate relationship within the Rolex community, even for the Milgauss now. And who's going to be laughing then? Of course, I won't be around. I'm 55 years old. And but someday, I really have a feeling that's what's going to happen. So, this watch, I'll tell you, I had so much fun with this watch this week. And thank you, Henry, again, for letting me have it to do this review. This is the final product of the strap for Chris. So, and the other reason we were doing this in this video, and Chris gave me the inspiration, was he originally came up with the idea of the red edge paint. And even I thought it might be a little bit too much. He thought, is it too much, Michael? We didn't know. And so I said, well, I can always put it on there, and if you don't like it, I can sand it off and adhere some royal blue to it and apply some royal blue. But isn't that a beautiful watch? So you let me know, Chris, if you want to keep this red. I think it's a keeper myself. I really do. I think it's really cool. It's definitely going to stand out, and if you wear it, you don't like it, you can always mail it back to me. I'll sand it off and put some blue on there. So let's keep it. Try it out. Well, listen, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like this video, got something out of it, hit the like button, all those things. Leave comments. I'd really like to know what your thoughts are. So God bless you all, and until next time, keep on ticking.